This is fine. 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 This is a poor substitute for therapy, but an excellent substitute for other podcasts.
We're not like other podcasts.
Join us as we find the answers to the universe's biggest questions like, is butter a carb? Does crying burn calories? And what the fuck am I doing with my life? We're here to be your part-time therapist, astrologer, concierge doctor, and fairy godmother. Do you need someone to validate you today? Cool. Come on in. We're fine. This is fine. Happy summer, my angels. If this is your first time listening, welcome to This Is Fine. I'm your host, Dominique, and you've joined on a sparkly, star-spangled kind of day. Shannon Aganza, our in-house master astrologer, my second mom, and all-around cosmic sorceress, is giving us astrology lessons and horoscopes throughout the year on this podcast. It allows us to know what the hell's going on in the sky that's making us feel some type of way. And feelings will be felt this summer, let me tell you. So, that brings us to right now, today's episode. Shannon's here today with your hot girl summer astrology forecast. We're talking about the cosmic weather in the coming months through early September and Virgo season. We've got 3 retrograde cycles to talk about today, involving Pluto, Venus, and Mercury. This will give us some themes and tones for the summer season, which will largely center on an internal glow-up. Hopefully you're excited about having one of those. So get your journals ready and take some notes. Let's do it. Okay, Shannon, welcome back.
Thank you.
As per usual, we're in our little cavern of mysticism known as the studio.
I know, I love the studio.
And you brought
like
lavender
home.
essential oil, and we're just like getting in the right headspace. So our usual ritual at the beginning is this fine. Are you fine today?
Oh, I'm so fine.
We're feeling really fine, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're wearing pink. You're wearing like my favorite shade of pink too, and I'm really vibing with it.
Like, how can you not feel well when you look down and you just see
like,
warmth?
Bright and beautiful. Pink is the prettiest color in the world.
It just is.
I just love it, and I love you. Thank you for being here with us.
Aw, my pleasure.
We're kicking off summer right now, so at the time you are listening, it will be early mid-June. And I hope that the weather is better than it has been in San Diego.
Yeah.
Some summer sunshine. So today we're going to talk about the next few months, a lot of retrograde cycles, and I'm really just going to let Shannon take it away. We're going to take some twists and turns today.
You must trust me.
I trust you with my life and my soul.
Like, oh boy, here we go.
Here we go. So buckle up for a little Astro roller coaster.
Well, what I want to do right now is just kind of give a sort of overview, thematic view.
Okay.
And I would love, hopefully we'll be able to do like a precise Venus retrograde in Leo podcast, because I think there's a lot to harvest from that. But right now what we're doing, so that will be to come.
Mm-hmm.
But
next month.
But for now, we're kind of looking at some of the bigger tones going on. And one of the biggest things right now, energetically, is we have Pluto moving back into Capricorn after being in Aquarius between March 23rd and just now, June 14th. And Pluto made its way into that 0 degrees of Aquarius to sort of give us a glimpse of what that energy is. And I think we broke the whole cycle down a bit more in a previous podcast,
right,
if you want to really go into it. But the point I want to make here right now is as it goes back into Capricorn, sort of what we're looking at is the work that we need to do. What do we need to do based on everything we saw? What did we see? Mm-hmm. How did we see our life differently? How did we see other people differently? Our relationships, everything. Through that lens of illumination, I have that a lot of my client base, that's where they've been like, oh my gosh, I know this now, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And this is the time where now Pluto moving back into Cap, we can sort of start doing the work, pulling our sleeves up.
Back to the drawing board.
A little back to the drawing board. And at least, I don't think it's going to feel so much like a slide down the hill back,
right,
but more of, okay, we're opening the tool shed again, where we've been looking at everything. And let's say this, like I love Aquarius as a metaphor for blueprints.
Yep.
And so we sent our blueprints to get approved, and now we just got our blueprints back.
Cool.
And so we have to look at it and pull our tools out and see it, okay, how can we accomplish what we have to accomplish?
All right.
And so we're going to be building that from now until January 21st of 2024, when then Pluto moves back into Aquarius and will be there for almost 20 years. And so really we need to look at this time not as, oh no, I don't want to go back there. Pluto Cap, especially towards the end. And really, we look at the whole cycle like a lot changed.
Yeah.
All you have to do is watch TV shows like from 2007.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And you get oh, this is where they were, this is where we were. This was culture, and where it is now.
And The Office versus Succession.
Yeah, exactly.
We've changed.
It's so funny too, because I don't know why Chato, my husband, he's been watching all those old lawyer shows. They're very light, but I'm watching them going, oh, they had no idea what was coming.
Sweet summer children.
Yeah. It's so, we're not going back necessarily back, but it's more of, okay, here is an opportunity. We should be grateful to be able to open the tool shed and go, okay, get the tools back out. We can fine tune. Or we get the eraser out on our blueprints and we can erase a few things because it's like that's what that glimpse was for. And so for everyone, this is, surveying. You can journal, look in your calendar, look at all the things that happened between that March 23rd time and right now. And there was a lot of uneasiness, I will say. Change is uncomfortable for a lot of people. And so we're trying to view this through the lens of, bigger picture, like taking fear out. And what I mean by that, some people are like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. I can't live here anymore. I can't do this. I cannot tolerate these things. And so now we're getting to put together, how can we build that out? But it doesn't have to be scary. So part of the whole cycle, so as we have Pluto moving back into Cap, putting the tool belt back on, putting the hard hat on. We need a little bit of a hard hat. We have these other cycles going on, the retrograde cycles that you were talking about. So we have happening together, or there's some crossover. One of the big ones is Venus retrograde, like we spoke about before. And again, we'll hopefully do a longer episode just dedicated to that. But the thing that I thought was really beautiful in looking at this is we have that Venus retrograde cycle, which happens every year and a half. It's not often. And then within that, about a month later, we have Mercury going retrograde. And so within these cycles, what I'm looking at is this sort of heart and head merging. So this time, we really want to be awake, meaning this is it. You want to sculpt your life. You want to be conscious about directions you're going. You can at least make good plans for yourself. And more than anything, not so much the focusing on what am I going to do out there. It's the inner stuff. That's what retrograde is.
An inner glow up.
An inner glow up, exactly. Yes. And Pluto is going backwards during this particular time. And again, Venus going backwards, Mercury going backwards. And what's really nice is that Mercury being in Leo is the heart. So we're looking at that warmth, that radiance, where your heart wants to be, not with any judgment or thought, not thinking love, but that feeling. And what are you attached to in that way? And just that, really, it's so cliche, but it is, self-love. And
oh, I love that. Like Venus and Leo theme could be self-love.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And what you come to within that self-love is where do I want to extend that back out? Because that's the thing with Leo. Leo is a very radiant sign. It's this very giving, it's very generous in its energy. But what we get while Venus is retracting, pulling inward, we're looking at it for ourselves. So yes, self-love. But then, if we put the bookends on this, July 22nd is the day that Venus goes retrograde at 28 degrees Leo. So this is important too if you want to look at your chart, if you can have access to that. I believe Dominique is probably, she has resourced all.
Yeah. If you know me personally, I probably have given you your chart from Astro Gold.
Exactly. Or at least a place to go find it.
Yes.
So one thing you want to look at is if you have any planets or your ascendant between the degrees 8 and 28 of Leo. And it's okay if you don't. It's still showing up somewhere in your chart.
I just got 2 6s.
But that's okay. It's near there. You get to observe it. It's still going to be happening. But, in a place where you can experience it. But when you have planets in the path of the retrograde, it's your transit. Because that means that whatever planet is retrograding, right now it's Venus, will contact that same planet 3 times.
Wow.
Where it normally just gets one pass on a regular, transit.
So that means your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Venus, Mars, any placement you have, that's going to get hit 3 times if it's in that window.
Yep. Cool. And so you want to look at the themes of that planet. And if you don't have any planets there, just look at the house and we did a whole thing on houses.
We did a whole thing on houses and I will link to that in the description.
And so you can and also, you want to look at the house regardless. If you have planets in the path, also look at the house.
Right.
Because that's going to be the environment that you're coming in and working on heart issues, what you love. Okay? So we have that as a theme. And I wanted to mention this. I thought this was really juicy, that the day Venus goes retrograde on that July 22nd, the sun, the ruler of Leo, is moving into Leo, is 0 degrees. So we have this 0 degree illuminator, the sun, the day Venus is going retrograde. So they're going to be moving towards each other.
Right.
But it shines light. So we're really supposed to be focusing on this.
Okay.
And then about a month later, on August 23rd, Mercury's going to go retrograde. And Mercury will go retrograde in Virgo. And on that same day, the day that Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo, the sun will hit 0 degrees Virgo. So again, there's this importance building up. That's how we look at these transits when we're trying to piece everything together. That's a double theme.
Yeah.
That has to do with illumination.
It's like they're being pulled back to the sun.
They're being pulled back to the sun, yes, and the sun is shining light. Like the sun is lighting the way so that it can see where it's going back.
Okay.
And it brings important that it's 0 degrees. Both of them are 0 degrees. That's super cool.
So cool.
And the thing I wanted to say with the Mercury part, it has that mind energy, divine mind. So we're looking with this divine heart, divine love with divine mind, with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn.
A lot of divinity.
A lot of divinity and a lot of getting to the root of what really matters.
Cool.
What really matters. Not based on what you think you need, what the exterior world tells you should be loving or where you should be, because that's a Virgo. Yeah, all the shoulds. And even not just what society tells you should, but your own self.
Cool.
Especially Mercury, oh my goodness. When we have Mercury going, it is a surgical tool, but when it's in Virgo, it's super, super surgery in a good way, without pain. It's
it's not stabbing you.
When I say without pain, it's not, the knife is not dull. I didn't even feel that.
Yeah.
We'll feel it, but we're going in. But the thing to bring in, Mercury is the only planet that has either double strength or double not strength.
Yeah.
I think we've said that before. So being in Virgo, it means not only is it in a place where it has resources and tools, because it rules Virgo. But it also is exalted. So it has both sides of the highest level of expression.
Right.
And so, again, this is our mental tool. So we know when we work on things that are sort of aligning head and heart, putting those two things together, we're getting to, I mean, this is unusual to have this kind of weather, cosmic weather, what feels like in service to us.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how I look at the sun. Like if we look at it as, you know, at the very least, you can be an atheist and know, okay, the sun is the giver of life. So you can look at that however you want. But it's like, you could look at it as creator energy. At least it's the life force energy. So we have this really strong opportunity to get, again, to that, you know, place. So it could be within your own self, within your own goals. It can be within, you know, how you want to do relationship. What career path do I want? But we need to understand that while we're doing this, it's with the expectation that we may not get to move into that house, that new, the new building until maybe next year, you know, because it can take
Aquarius
a little
blueprint
time.
house.
The Aquarius blueprint house.
I love it.
And that's the other, we should give the bookends for Mercury too.
Yeah.
So the Mercury retrograde cycle will start at 21 degrees Virgo and go back to 8 degrees Virgo. So if you have anything in the pathway of 8 and 21, and I'm thinking you're just
just sitting here like nervously laughing. Like half my chart.
Virgo can't have a But it's exciting because you have the master consultant. It's like, I got an appointment with the highest level, I don't know, coach,
like
teacher.
Doctor or something. Yeah,
doctor.
Totally. That makes sense.
The best in their field.
Yeah.
But they're going to make me do some stuff.
Right.
And I got to trust it because they're the best in their field.
Cool.
Because we already are in 1 month into Venus retrograde when this starts.
Right. Wait, no, this is June. Oh, right, with the shadow period, right?
No. Venus goes retrograde July 22nd. Mercury goes retrograde.
I thought you meant like today when this is coming out. Sorry. I was like, not yet.
No, I'm sorry. When Venus goes retrograde.
It's like a month and then Mercury.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're already a month in. So we're already gathering intel. Here's the thing. Be okay with it if you're feeling more emotional. And I was like, I'm feeling bobbing around emotion. I'm feeling this one day and I'm feeling this other thing. The emotional body is just working the things out that need to just come up and out. And here's the other thing. Allow yourself to feel. I think there's a reason why it's in this order. This is like cosmic goodness because we tend to be more thinkers and not allowed feeling. So even for the most linear type, I promise you get to weave the mind into this. So let it go.
Yeah.
Like, let your emotions go. Even maybe force it on yourself. And what I mean by that, it's like, okay, I'm going to watch a really sad movie or I'm going to watch a really happy movie. I'm going to watch something that is so funny. Incite emotion. And if you can't get that fire lit, it's time to like, oh, I got to look at this.
Yeah. So if your pilot light of your emotions is not lighting, then it's like, oh, let's get curious about that. What's happening?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I bet you have a zillion podcasts you can refer them to. They've already done.
Getting in touch with your emotions.
Yep, exactly.
All of our therapy sessions.
That's right. Maybe you are deficient in something.
Quick question that it might be a little too advanced, but let's say someone doesn't have anything in Leo or Virgo, but they have their coke house cusps at a certain degree within those ranges. Yeah. Would that be like when it hits that degree, like that's when you kind of feel something?
Not too advanced for me. And that's if you run your chart with coke house cusps. So the
K-O-C-H.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's listening to this who understands what that means, like probably already knows. Yeah, and if you don't, it's okay.
There are different house systems, different ways to divide the sky. And the coke house system in particular, the house cusps are so sensitive that when you have like something crossing it, it's it's like the string of the guitar
Ah.
where it just, woo, you feel it.
Yeah.
A little more differently. And this is, this is Shannon talking. I'm not saying, I did have a teacher teach me this, Jim Siobhan, 25 years ago, big time San Diego astrologer years ago. He's the one who turned me on to Koch house and the cusps. But if you do, here's the thing, like if you want the challenge, run your chart in both and see what happens.
Right.
Because chances are it may get plucked. That string may get plucked.
Yeah.
So that's it. Then what will happen is you'll notice the theme shift from one house to the other.
Okay.
Okay, so here's another for those of you who are testing your house systems out. Just do an experiment and see what happens in those couple days.
Yeah. Like market, maybe if you are looking at a chart where you can kind of see what's happening and when, like, okay, this hit the Koch house cusp at, I'll use myself as an example, 15 degrees Leo.
Yeah.
What am I feeling that day? Is something coming up? Do I feel an energetic shift?
Yeah. Did it shift?
Okay.
Am I going? And what will happen is a revisit, because when it's going retrograde, it's going back to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might go, oh, okay, I didn't finish stuff up here. The other thing you can kind of think of is that, I can't get everything done. I have so much to do.
Who, me?
But I'll get a chance to do this.
Right.
I'm going to get a chance to do this again. So that will help me manage my time better and what I'm going to put my energy into.
I needed to hear that today.
So when Mercury comes in, and Mercury will be in Virgo for some time moving forward, but it's kind of letting Venus have her day. I think Venus will be louder.
Makes sense.
than Mercury when Mercury is direct. And that's the thing too, right before Mercury goes direct, Venus will be Cazimi. Venus, I think it's the 19th of August.
19th?
Yeah. And that's when she is crossing the sun and then moving to be a rising star. And that we won't see her for a little while. But she's leaving the setting sky and entering the rising sky. Okay. And so that's always a big moment. But that also, see, the theme doesn't stop. This is the thing with astrology. It's like, okay, there it is again. There's no way around this. We're going inward.
Okay.
Because that's the thing. That's when she literally, mythologically, she goes underground. That's when she goes in. So we're going in a few days before. And we can just even say, she just was in the heart of the sun.
Right.
Which is beautiful. So we can take that. That's a day to star your calendar.
Okay, August 19th. You heard
August
it here
19th.
first.
And just because she's in the heart of the sun. So if it's like, I really don't know what I want or what I'm doing, it's like, I'm just not even going to try to think it, because usually that's what happens. We get our brain too involved. And I'm a brain lover, so don't hear me. I am
preaching to the choir, girl.
I love the mind. Without the mind, we don't have a navigator. But this is a moment of just turning that apparatus off the best way you can.
Cool. Heart-centered.
Heart-centered, and just being open to what will be revealed. The mind is looking for what's being revealed. You're just feeling it. So we're looking at feelings. And then, again, we go into the retrograde. And so this will be retrograding all the way back. What's interesting is it hits a 22. The sun, when it goes to its place of direction, which will be on September 15th, the sun will be 22 degrees, which I think is really cool, because it is that construction. It's the master builder. It's, I have something.
Right.
And Venus, by the way, goes direct on September 3rd,
right,
at that 8 degrees. And so, 12 degrees.
12, yeah.
And so with that, I like that ending on, that 22 degree Virgo. And so, that's just means we have more clarity. We can move forward. That's more of when we're stepping into our world. We're doing the thing. And we all have to function in the world. I know, that's just a reality. But I'm talking about your expectations of self, how you're responding to people, how you're responding to life. So it is a really beautiful inward time. And I was thinking about this with music. I woke up actually early this morning. It was like this half asleep, wake up. And how related music is to astrology with the harmonics, and how, in music you have the rests. Anybody who knows music, like you have your time where you're playing the music, and then you have the rests, the silent part, the part where you're pausing. If we just played music, it's just noise. It's the pauses that actually make the music the music.
Yeah.
And the retrogrades are like pauses. They're the inward time. They're the natural go in. So there are rest points that actually create the music. And so
I think that's such a lovely way to reframe it, because there's a lot of fear around, especially Mercury. Mercury retrograde, I would say, is one of the most outside of astrology known terminologies. And everyone, whenever something is going wrong, typically texts me, is Mercury retrograde right now?
I know. You know what's kind of cool? People at least have something that they can go to. And it's true. It's like, Mercury retrograde.
Right.
And it could be something else. But
right. And I'm like, no, it's actually Mars squaring Pluto. Like, actually?
But I love that there's a thought. It used to be, is it a full moon or something? And now it's like, it's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
But they know, like people are knowing that, there is some cosmic force happening.
There's a correlation.
There's a correlation. And usually we can track that, because it isn't just us that feel off. It's we're seeing other people off. And then the thing I wanted to bring into, just to bring some more, synthesis and like culmination, is that when Mercury, we didn't talk about shadows, but, there's those degrees that it crosses. So then when Mercury goes direct, and then from 8 degrees Virgo, going all the way forward to 21 degrees Virgo, that's going to be on September 29th, which will be a full moon in Libra.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so it's that other culmination. So we have the sun at 22, I'm building something, and then it leaves that place where it was, for the third time, it's crossing. And it's that culmination. Full moon in Libra is a Venus-ruled lunation.
Yeah.
So we're getting to see, like...
New moon?
No, full moon.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's the sun is ruled by Venus.
By Venus, when the sun is in Libra. Right. Okay.
The moon will be in Aries. Yeah, you're right. But, we have Mars and Venus,
Polarity.
But Venus is going to be the one who's lighting the way during that time. And she has like a culmination. That's what full moon
is. Of hitting the sun and doing the retrograde cycle.
Exactly. And Mars is going to be in Libra as well.
Oh, right.
At that moment, which is pretty cool too. So it's all that, like, pulling it together and synthesizing it and feeling like, okay, I know what I'm doing. So again, the theme I look at, utilizing both of those parts. We have the heart, we have the emotional body, and then the mind comes in, and it's trying to not acquiesce, but default maybe to the heart. The mind is, we have an opportunity to consciously have our mind defer to the heart.
It's like, okay, I'll let you take the lead a little bit. Yeah.
And it may want to. And, by the way, when Venus is in Leo, it's quite regal, majestic. It is very, she has a level of like holding her space. Like she's not giving in.
Royal energy.
It's very royal and strong in self. Mm-hmm. So if she's crying, she's strong. Like, I am good in this space. Or if she's whatever it is, as long as she's not in ego state, then Mercury can be there to serve her. The mind can be there to serve the heart.
Right. Instead of the other way around, which I feel like is a default sometimes.
Exactly. So you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if we really look at this is pretty dang important to kind of get ourselves situated to this for the coming Pluto and Aquarius cycle for the next 20 years, because we're really moving into such a strongly technological age, AI, all those things that our minds are just going to be candy, crack, all the, oh my God, it's amazing.
For sure.
What AI can provide, the mind is like, yes.
Yes.
This is, and I can be lazy. Like I don't have to do a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Or efficient. How can I be more efficient?
So we need to invite our heart into that, to know like, oh, what is good for this? What is good for us? The love nature that like, touching each other, warm embrace.
Becomes like a stabilizer when our brains go off the rails.
Yes, exactly. So we can kind of, if we consciously do some work with it, it will still be there to go back to, even if you get lazy, like, oh, okay, God, it's all direct, no problem. But you did something, so there's something to go back to within your mind, your brain.
There's a precedent set.
There's a precedent in the wires between the heart and the head, because they do exist. We have a channel. Isn't there like, I think there's this sheath that encapsulates, like it, I got to find the research.
The neurons?
No, it's, we have the neurons. Yes, we know that. We have
it's
neurons
like the
in our
myelin
heart.
sheath.
I have to, I shouldn't even be talking about it without being able to cite it. But I remember a bit ago that it's like this very thin sheath that goes from the heart all the way up through the throat, all the way up, like in our nervous system to the brain, that there's a connection.
I'm Googling it just in case.
Google
the
it.
Cerebral arteriogram? No, that's a catheter-based exam. For sure.
And maybe I'm futuring right now.
That's really cool. I don't know. I'm thinking of like the exterior of the heart. I'm like the pericardium.
There's the pericardium, but there's something else. It's just really
the vagus nerve.
Well, maybe the vagus nerve is the connector. Maybe that's what it is. But there's something that literally
carotid sheath.
Okay, sheath. There it is. Yeah, that. Woo! We did this.
We did it.
We're a good team.
I'm like, vagus nerve, carotid sheath, middle of the two large vessels, common carotid artery, internal jugular vein. No one cares. I'm just reading. Sorry.
My inner Virgo is all in for getting more podcasting right now. But there is, the whole point is and the more we learn, the more science expands, we do find these other things that we thought were just woo-woo.
Right.
But it's not.
Right. The heart-mind connection, right?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. So we're trying to link those and let them meet each other again. That's the other thing. Like, it's not one or the other. We tend to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And
it's not binary.
An extreme, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's of everything in life. Like we're ready to move into that state.
Finally, this is like one of the things that I've had to like really work on to like break out of, I think from cultural conditioning that we're so used to like yes or no. You're a good person. You're a bad person. It's black. It's white. You're this. You're that. It's this or instead of and. And I really like to get to the place of and. Like you can be two things.
It's unity.
Yeah. It's like bring and as the conjoiner versus or is the diverger.
Not the right
divider. Word. Divider, thank you. I was like, I speak English.
So one is a separator, one is a unifier.
Yep, exactly.
And so that is what we're ready. So like outing myself in my like channeling part, but this is what I've been looking at from a channeling perspective when I've been with clients and I get the downloads that is what humanity's trying to do right now. We think we're trying to be more conscious of this and that. Really, we're working as a species, evolution, ascension, air quote, is merging the heart and head. Like that's it. That's what next level is. That's what living a 4D, 5D life, like whatever language you want to use. It isn't, we're suddenly these magic beings that can fly. It's we're more cohesive.
Yeah.
We're more unified.
Right.
That's what it is. And so here's a moment that we're being offered if we pay attention to really focus on that.
Cool. That's like, honestly, I'm like, are we achieving nirvana soon?
We won't until we align those two things.
Right. I mean, that feels so beautiful and optimistic. And I think maybe people hearing the words like retrograde and like Pluto seems kind of scary and all these things, this is something really hopeful, especially like if you've gone through, the past few years have been really hard. And this feels like we're headed toward a really lovely, almost romanticized era.
Well, at least being able to go into a new era stabilized within our being.
Right.
Aligned within our being. Having a clear head so we can make clear decisions that aren't just based on data, but just the heart is involved too.
Yeah.
What's the good for the whole,
the collective,
and what feels right, what feels wrong, but the mind is involved.
Yep.
It's both.
You're empathic and logical.
But when are we going to, I could look it up, but when are we going to have this again? Well, we certainly won't have it with Pluto with its tool belt on.
Right. This is a pretty unique combination of all three.
Right.
Because
it's going to be another 250 years.
Until this comes back around.
Yeah, before Pluto's in Cap again.
So we will probably not be alive.
Well, we'll see what Pluto in Aquarius does.
Maybe we will be
frozen
cryogenically.
If you have the money, you might be in a freezer somewhere.
Just me and Stella, really cold.
With her pink collar. And your little pink suit.
And just the face that says I have one brain cell. I'm just kidding. You're so smart, baby.
Aww, she's the sweetest, and she's smart too.
She's a smart girl.
She is a heart-head girl.
She really is. Oh my gosh. With my Taurus baby. And she's got her Virgo moon.
Oh, see?
Yep. I know. The moon being the mother is really slapping me in the face with that one.
well, the Taurus too being Venus ruled. So she's got Venus and Mercury. That's what I mean.
And then her Venus is Gemini. I feel like that's an inside joke. Do people understand? Oh boy.
So
that's it. Yeah. So last year we had a hot girl summer forecast. And this year we have an inner glow up summer forecast.
Go forth and unify.
Go forth and unify. That's so Aquarian. I love it.
But we will have better relationships
going forward
if we put the work in now.
So use this. It's optimal weather. It's like having a perfect 72-degree sunny day for the beach, right?
Yes.
This is the perfect weather to do that work so you can move forward.
And, if we do the Venus retrograde episode, we'll do some surgery with that too.
Yes. So we'll get more into that in the next month. So stay tuned for that one. And I remember you talked a bit about it probably in different ways when we did the year ahead forecast.
Okay, of course.
So if you're listening to this now and you're like, I need more, feed my brain, go back to our 2023 forecast from January. Or maybe it was December. I'll link to it. Shannon, this was fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll see you here in 5 minutes for another episode. I'm kidding. We love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.
All right. I hope that gave you some context for what's going on, what's ahead. Prepare for summertime sadness and summertime excitement and summertime joy and summertime love, self-love, lots of feelings, merging the head and heart, and of course, an internal glow up. Like I said in the interview, we are linking to additional resources in the episode description, so find your links there to get more intel and discover your birth chart if you haven't already. Stay tuned for the coming episodes that we've got coming out ahead. It's This Is Fine's birthday in a few days, so we'll have a special episode for that. We love a Gemini birthday. Then Caroline will be back for a perfume smash or pass episode. If that sounds insane, that's because it is. Wishing you the hottest of hot girl summers yet. I'll see you outside or on the internet. Okay, bye. A bientôt. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of This Is Fine. I've been your host, Dominique Michelle Astorino. We're based in San Diego, recording in studio at DLI Productions in Pacific Beach with Emmy Award-winning sound designer Dan De La Isla. This is a comedy and advice podcast, but for legal reasons, this entire podcast is a joke and none of it is medical advice. To download the transcript or learn more, visit thisisfinepodcast.com.